Hey everyone, Thomas Wolf here. Who am I here with today?
Royston over here.
So I met Royston at one of Steve Tan's meetups here in Kuala Lumpur, where I'm rounding out the year. And I figured we'd hop on a podcast and talk about our 2025, talk about some things that we've learned this year, what we found difficult, things that can help the audience back at home. And I was just wanting to see how Royston had, what challenges he'd overcome this year, what he's looking forward to in 2026, and we're going to cover all of that.
Sounds amazing, Thomas. It was a pleasure meeting you at the event, and you flew out after that. Then when you came back, we met up again. So yeah, here we are. Let's go.
Yeah, awesome. So Royston owns a very successful reputation management company. So I'm interested to hear more about that as well. Can you tell us how you got into that space and how you've grown that to what it is now?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I started my marketing agency like 6 years ago in the local lead generation space. Then we evolved over time to be like a full service agency working almost like many different niches, including like e-commerce. Then now we pivoted to the public relations niche as well. But our marketing agency still works with like some SMEs, public listed companies and stuff, and we offer like a wide variety of solutions as well. So like the online reputation management is one of the core verticals that we offer, but we also do like many different things, like the usual like digital marketing, social media growth kind of stuff, positive public relations, like, we can help position people and help. One unique service we have is we can make anyone like an Amazon best-selling author in the PR kind of space. And we also have like the negative online removal kind of service as well, where if there's any like negative like reviews, articles, social media posts, whatever online, we can help people remove it. And how I came about this, things like just pivoted over time, and actually it was like a problem we solved ourselves first before we figured that, hey, other coaches and personal brands could also use this service,
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot more. I know some other people in the space as well that have been doing some big numbers with it. Because fundamentally it's people will talk shit about you online, and just one kind of negative or shit comment can be more impactful on people's opinion than all these other positive comments. 'Cause people have a really negative, majority mindset about that. So yeah, I see why it's a popular business, and so that's how you got into that. And what kind of challenges did you face this year, and how did you deal with those?
I find it very interesting that every year in business and entrepreneurship, different challenges are faced, This year in particular, I think it was because we have other companies that we scale as well in totally different industries now. So I think it's this challenge this year was figuring out which to spend our time and focus and energy on. Because, a lot of the most successful mentors, they always say, focus on one thing at a time, So it's a matter of us, let's say we have 3 really good business opportunities and, businesses that we're pursuing. So we spend a little energy and time on each of them to see which has the biggest long-term potential before figuring out our core focus, because this year we pivoted quite a bit in terms of the different businesses that we do as well.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because you've been in. So maybe about your business journey. How long have you been in business for, and how did that route lead you to reputation management?
Sure.
Is it marketing still, or you can?
Let me hold this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I started my first online business at the end of 2016. That was the sneaker hype craze phase. So at the time I was still studying, and I was in the sneaker craze hype. Then I thought hey, I want to start my own clothing brand as well. But I didn't, have money to start a clothing brand. And that's how I stumbled upon print on demand or like branded dropshipping, we call it. So end of 2016, I started my online clothing brand. Then a year later, I was still running it. Then 2 years later, I got into like my own like personal brand stuff in like the fashion space, and I was growing like theme pages. So like one thing leads to another. I started with e-commerce first.
Yeah.
Then I realized like, hey, like I'm paying like these Instagram pages and influencers money. Why don't I try that as well? Then the year later, I stumbled upon some mentors and stuff, and that's how I discovered the digital marketing agency model. Started with local lead gen, then e-commerce, then like positive PR, then now negative PR removal. So that's the evolution like over the past few years.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. Yeah, like that's good. That's kind of like a good way to do it. Like if you know that you have a really good skill in a certain thing, like marketing, yeah, that like different vertical within marketing can really hit strong like that. Like you were saying, like with the e-commerce verticals and then the marketing verticals, going from positive to negative is like also interesting because like, yeah, like right now the negative like is more impactful on the human psyche than like positive. I mean, I think that's what humans are wired to avoid pain more than they're wired to get gain, right? Yep. So if you're helping someone to avoid so many like negative consequences of like, their name being damaged online, you can charge even more for that than you can for positive PR. Yeah. So how did that part like kind of, how did that transition happen with that? Was that just like?
That transition happened like because we had to solve our own like problem. Like we faced something like similar to it. And we like right now we have a division of our business working with like other personal brands, coaches, or other like established businesses. And a lot of the services that we offer, like we figured that out within our own company first, and that's how we are able to like offer to like other companies and stuff. So it's just like replicating like the system solutions within our company for like other established businesses.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's it's a natural progression. You talked about mentors as well. Like I've been realizing a lot how critical and like how helpful, how time saving, how like many things having a good mentor is. Because for a long time I was kind of like in my box, trying to come out of a box. So can you say like kind of who some of your biggest mentors were? And kind of like your relationship with them at the moment?
Yeah, sure. Like I stumbled upon like, all the biggest mentors and gurus, like back then, like the biggest in the space, you name it, I followed them. I went the rabbit hole, consume all their content, videos, and it really changed my life, And I didn't know that, like fast forward right now, like some of these, mentors I looked up to, they're on my, I text them, they're like one text away, they respond to me, like, we're texting back and forth, many like collaboration opportunities and stuff. And like whoever the top gurus were back then, right now, like until now, we still invest and learn from like everybody,
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. I see like you're very good at networking. I see your content, like, you've been going to many events as well. So like when you're networking or having like a business conversation, you're meeting someone for the first time, what is it that's most important for you to like, know about someone else, and like how you go about introducing yourself and how you could potentially have like a relationship with that person?
Yeah, great question. I think that's like a 3-prong sort of question. So the first thing is like, how do you introduce yourself? How do you like meet new people and stuff? I learned this from one of my mentors, very successful guy, told me like the best way to like, meet anyone, or it could be like dating girls, cold approaching anybody, is just start it like mid-convo, So let's say you're at a party, you're at a networking party, rather than saying like, oh, like, hi, I'm whoever, what's your name? Can just say like, oh, like, how did you know about this party? How do you know about this event? Do you like, how did you meet the host of this event, So it's like very midway, like relatable sort of conversation, so it's not so awkward, before you
yeah.
transition to like, oh, my name is this, this is what I do. Then later on, you said like what I look for. So like, it's important, especially in like a business event networking, to like know what other people are doing. I just subtly ask like, oh, what industry you're in? Because I say like what you're doing, and sometimes it sounds too like direct or straightforward,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I asked like, oh, what industry are you in? Before like, slowly like seep into like the other nitty gritty details. Then I just see like in my head, I always think like, oh, how is there like a way I can collaborate with this other person, that I'm talking to? Because some people you meet, like they might know somebody that might be helpful to you, like that might be some sort of collaboration opportunity, like you never know,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and when it comes to like maintaining a relationship, what I find is like meeting new people and it's like a customer relationship CRM funnel. Let's say you meet 100 people, maybe like only 10 or 20% of them would be like responsive or like nice and like want to further the conversation with you.
Yes.
There are some people who are they're successful, quote unquote, and they just don't like to meet new people, or like they just couldn't be bothered to like reply you or whatever. Just forget about those people, But those that that you see like everything is aligned, they want to like further the relationship stuff. I think that's the easiest way, and that is my overview and outlook so far.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's really good. I think that's a good angle to go with. And yeah, I mean, at all the crypto events that I go to, the crypto conferences, the side events, yeah, trying to find that kind of common ground, a little bit of common ground, and even if there isn't common ground, just like learning from other people stuff you don't know is also can be very valuable too, like mistakes that they've made, lessons that they've learned. Yeah, so that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I just got one thing to add. Yeah, that's something very interesting you mentioned, Thomas, because like every human being, like whether they explicitly like share with you an insight or experience that you might learn from, like, but just like, there's a saying like everyone has something you don't know, and sometimes just like listening to their like life story gives you a lesson, like sometimes when I listen to some people's life and they're totally unrelated to what I do, but it gives me an interesting perspective to life, like, oh, like someone like had it like so bad, so worse, but they managed to like dig themselves, they managed to like not give up. There's something to be learned just to like learning about someone's life experience,
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think that like I don't really like the meaningless like small talk like about the weather and stuff, but like I think that even if it's not like directly relevant to something, yeah, like you say, like just people's stories and like their learned experience, yeah, can actually still be useful. Like, because sometimes I would think too much about like like the logic, like sticking to a subject, but then I gained new information and new insight from people sharing stories with me and like other things like that. So I think that's a really good way to learn. Yeah, so we're in Kuala Lumpur right now, also, which I think is a pretty good like up and coming city at the moment in terms of business. I see more digital nomads and more like business professionals moving out here. A lot of people from Singapore even coming. Obviously, like the Tan brothers moved to KL from Singapore. Many other people at the event as well that we met at. Do you feel that way about KL as well? Is KL like your like big base, or like do you have other plans of location? And what's your feeling about that?
Yeah, great question, Thomas. I think different strokes for different folks. Like some people like yourself, you shared with me like you relocate to like Thailand, Malaysia, like you have your rotation or like Dubai, like Indonesia. I think some people like lifestyle is important to them, like the location is important to them. For me, right now my priority is like business opportunity. So like last year I was like mostly in like Canada and the US, because one of the businesses that we were scaling, like the coaching business, most of our students and clients were there. We hosted events over there. But this year, we pivoted and we are launching something new. And also I have like a couple of important big clients over here in Kuala Lumpur that, especially when you work with like the more traditional older demographic people, like in-person meetings are really important. And that's why this year, I've been here for quite a while. But next year, things might change. For me, I pursue like where makes sense business-wise. But other people, you might choose it for like lifestyle, affordability.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and absolutely. Like, yeah, we've got different reasons to be in different places. I mean, I like KL because it's very like well-rounded. It's great value here. That makes a good point. Like, you spend a lot of time in the US and Canada. Business is done in a very different way to Asia, and particularly like, Malaysia, Indonesia. Like, family ties run a lot deeper here, you'd say.
Yep.
Like, so those face-to-face meetings. Where not only know someone, but their family, like in America, people don't talk about family so much. Like even like in England and New Zealand, it's like more like it can be more transactional, but like family matters a lot more to some people, right? Not like, people, everyone's different, but like generally the trend in the society is more like that. Maybe you can tell us more like you have like 3 million followers on Instagram. I don't know how many on Facebook and YouTube, and like on YouTube as well, right? How long have you been growing that for? And like, what was the biggest like what content and what messaging was the biggest needle mover? Like when were you really like going parabolic? When were you really growing like, the most? And like, how did you make that happen?
Yeah, for sure. So, we've been growing social media pages since like 2018. Like back then it was like way easier. That was like 7 years ago now. And back then, like just posting like a normal post, like there was like no reels, no videos. You just post a normal post. Your engagement is like 5%, which is
I remember that
super
too.
great, But things have changed so much now. So a lot of the social media pages, we've grown since back then. Then recently, because when you have like a sales team, especially when you sell like high ticket products and stuff, relying on organic is a bit like unsteady and whatnot, especially when you have a sales team. So we pivoted to running a lot of ads lately, compared to like years ago when it was so much easier to grow on organic and stuff. And now our goals are so different. Like my goal is not to get more followers or get more views, whatever. My goal is like how to increase the like monetization per follower and stuff. How to build like a niche, super strong audience. I've seen like some clients and some people who have like small audiences, but they make so much more money. So that's our focus and our goal right now. No longer like vanity metrics. But more on like the business and scaling and monetization side of things.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. There's people with like millions of followers that don't like even sell that much. Yeah, like building your unique tribe. I think, being authentic is like a key thing. Like people, especially right now, this era, like you say, 2018 was way more simple, less competition. Now, like it's authenticity. Like, they want to know about you, your backstory. They want to know like really why you do the things you do. And like you say, like the LTV of the customer, and the result that you give the customer. Like what transformation is it that you're presenting to your client? Why do they hire you specifically?
Yeah, we offer we have different multiple businesses. We offer like different solutions and whatnot. The most prevalent one on my IG is helping like people start and scale like an online income stream, and we teach multiple methods. We used to teach like e-commerce. Then we pivoted to now teaching people how to monetize on IG with a small following, some sort of like an affiliate marketing sort of model. So one of my students, you can see I posted about her, I even flew out to San Fran, the Bay Area, to meet her in person. It's on my IG. She made like, I think close to 200 grand so far. They have other students who, made a lot of money with like TikTok, social media, because it's more like beginner friendly and whatnot. But we have the B2B side as well, helping working with like established businesses. And with the online reputation management side, that's mostly working with like personal brands, coaches, consultants in our space.
Yeah.
But we also have like a marketing agency division working with like local businesses, even working with like some big public listed companies and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. You're well diversified. You've got a nice range of different clients, which is good. Like that also helps you to be able to sustain like market drops. Mm-hmm. Like for me, I get to like, yeah, for sure. Like I talked about before, like crypto is very cyclical. And when the market is, having a pullback like now, it becomes a lot harder to sell like the exact same thing. Like actually crazy how much of an impact it has like in people's psyche. Even the exact same ads, the exact same marketing will sell like less than half because of the market, how it is right now. So that's good. That's a good lesson on diversification. And for me as well, like I also keep trying to diversify my income streams. When it comes to the B2B side, is the mentality like very different there? Like how do you approach a business client versus individual? Like is there a difference or?
World of a difference. A lot of B2B clients, I don't even hop on a call with them. Like, we just like sell through DMs. And because like the service we offer is pretty unique, some of it's like, oh, you pay after you get the results if we trust the person, unlike B2C, where like, unless you have built massive trust, like hopping on a sales call usually is important because you're selling the transformation, you're selling like the motivation, the inspiration, the emotional side of things. Whereas B2B, it's more of the end result, the service you're offering, like, oh, what can you do for me, And like personally myself, when I buy something, like, because, somebody's selling me, it's like a B2B transaction to me. Like I do my due diligence before that. I ask them like a whole lot of questions. I don't, for me as a buyer, I don't necessarily need to hop on a call with somebody. Because, I do my own duty. If I trust a person, everything makes sense. I ask them a lot of questions. I can just like pay over WhatsApp or text or Instagram DM or whatever, Yeah, that is at least for that side of things. But we also work with like a lot of like local businesses, more like traditional non-online businesses, where like the business owners are like 50 years old and above. Those usually need in-person meetings. Because that's how they've conducted business all the while, They're not like our generation where if you, grow up everything online, we know how to like suss people out better online. These people, they don't know, they don't even have social media, So you got to meet them in person. That's how you build trust.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's some really good insight there. Very helpful. So yeah, we're coming to the end of 2025, obviously right now. What are your biggest, goals or like parts of yourself, personal and business, biggest targets and areas where you can improve?
That's a really broad question.
Take it how you want.
Yeah, when I first, when I first started out business, like I thought, it was like really, really easy to like quantify my goals. Like, oh, this year, I want to like make this amount of money and whatnot. But this is my personal opinion, I feel like a lot of things like there's like so many external factors outside our control, at least like, in my opinion. So I just like do what I can. I set the vision, set the plan. And, I just put in the inputs that's needed. And, I do my best to hit the output, but I'm not so fixated to the output anymore. Because, I know like sometimes there are like things outside our control, Yeah.
Yeah, like outcome independence, right? Like, so yeah, focus on the inputs, and it's kind of a debate like how much of all of this is like a science and how much is an art. Like, because I was kind of thinking about that as well. It's like in certain niches, it's more like the science. If you follow this, you get that. But in our space, it's more 50-50 perhaps. I wonder if you think that as well, or like what the balance is between the science and the art form of like your results.
Yeah, sure. This is my own like experience and observation of like other entrepreneurs and, people in my space. I think like sometimes like 50-50, like 50 is like, our hard work, our smartness, like how we prioritize things and what we work on. and other 50 is like, market forces, like just like good timing, good luck. Like I've seen people who's like, they are not like harder working, they're not smarter or whatever. They just got into the opportunity earlier, and just through getting into the opportunity earlier, it built that moat that made it really difficult for other people to come in. Yeah. So it's not like necessarily anything. They're just like they just take action. They're early, they're quick, and that's how they build the moat.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and with how much AI is disrupting like all industries, actually, I was wanting to know some of your thoughts about how AI impacted your business and how you and your team leverage AI. What things can you tell people at home that could help them with like a better understanding of AI systems and whatever else you want to cover?
Yeah, sure. So I think especially in our space, the online space, like AI is disrupting our space like crazy,
Information, yeah.
Exactly, like anything online. Whereas like offline businesses, it's not a matter like it's not for on like offline businesses or like more traditional businesses. It's not a matter of like AI not disrupting them. It's because the competitors and other people in those spaces are not adopting AI as quickly. So compared to our space, like people in our space are adopting AI so quickly that it gives them a massive advantage, and that is why like we are forced to, like adopt AI so quickly. Yeah. So it's like AI disrupt. I think AI can be applicable across like most companies. It disrupts everything, anything right now.
Yeah.
But it's also a matter of like how quick and how effective your competitors are adopting and using AI. Because like business is all about like against competition. We're not doing business ourselves.
Yeah. That's some good insight again. I mean, it's changing, particularly our space. Yeah, like a lot of people out there, even just like trying to automate every single like possible thing, from the content to the outreach to the sales process. Like at some point, it's like the humanity is like almost lost in some of these, right? Like I think that's kind of going to be difficult. But I think that the authenticity and providing a service is still quite a human experience to deliver it like well and at its best. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see how all of this develops. But yeah, on the ad side of things, like so with paid ads, for the ad professionals watching, like people who want to do some like very productive ad spend, for example, like you said, like as high as 11 ROAS when we were talking before, or like what channels are working the best for you, and perhaps a little bit of like the creative of a methodology that anything that you're able to share.
Yeah, sure. It depends on like what are we selling to. Like from like a lot of businesses in our space, like Meta ads, Facebook, Instagram, that targets like both the middle and older demographics, so that covers most people, versus like TikTok ads, that's like covering like way younger people. And for YouTube ads, it's a bit more like complicated and a bit more difficult to get it going, because you gotta like have really good like creatives. And YouTube ads are a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Compared to like Facebook, Instagram ads, it's way easier setup. You can even do an image. You have to like shoot a video, so the barrier of entry is way lower. So some tips would be, right now with the recent like Meta update and whatnot, a lot of the targeting comes down to like our messaging, our creative, like within our copy, our photo or video, we can call out the exact people we are looking for, and that's how like Meta's AI helps locate those people. Versus like in the interest targeting, you can just put like some common sense interest, whatever interest people in our space are like interested in. But the most important thing would be like the image, the creative, the video, our ad copy and our headline, like who are we calling out, like that, people that we are trying to get their attention for.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm still learning like a lot more about paid ads. I used to do it for my e-commerce store before. Like you say, copywriting, the creative, speaking to, like you really want to speak to who is like really buying your products. Is there like any particular ad or like creative that you can say, and like why you think that it worked?
Even if I were to say like an ad that worked for me, like it wouldn't work right now, I know.
Yeah, the market. That's the other thing. Yeah, the market. Like you got to be very adaptable. Yeah.
Yeah, so like when we enter like a new market in whatever service or product we're selling, the easiest way is to like to the ads library, whether it's like Google, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
and see what other competitors are running.
What's working right now?
Yeah, what's working right now.
Yeah.
But there's a catch. If you look at ads that are like launched too recently, you're not sure whether they work or not. Because let's say a competitor just launched an ad yesterday. How would you know whether it's working or not?
Yeah.
So you have to look for ads that were launched like weeks or like maybe a month ago, because that shows that it's still working and it's still profitable, and that's why they're still keeping it running,
Yeah.
versus ads that are like versus ads that are like still active like maybe like a year ago and it's still active right now. Those could be like retargeting ads. It's most likely are. So like the best way is to like go to the ads library, search like keywords, in your industry, and see what ads are people running like a few weeks ago to a month ago, and that will give you like the best like market predictor on like what's working right now. And there are like more advanced like ads tools like like Facebook ad spy tools. If you search like spy tools, there are like more advanced ads library like those where you can filter by engagement. So that's how you can see like, oh, this ad has like way more likes, way more comments, and that might be working better. Like out of the 10 ads your competitors are running, which is performing the best out of all of them.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the insight with that. I'm sure that is helpful for people watching. Another thing that I was wondering is with masterminds. Have you ran a mastermind? Like, would you do it in KL? Do you do them in the US? Like, how do you feel about the mastermind or like in person teaching kind of sector? How is that evolving, and like how do you operate with that?
Yeah, after 2020, after the pandemic and stuff, I think people crave more like offline stuff more. And with now like AI, people don't know what's real, what's not. Yeah. So the in-person thing is even more important, and that is what people are craving for, And if you look at like the data and statistics of companies backed by like investors and stuff, there are a lot of offline companies like meetup companies and whatnot receiving funding in that area. So it shows you like there's a demand for like more offline things right now, within the general world. Last year we hosted 2 events in Vancouver and Toronto because we have a big like student community both in the US and Canada. But in Canada, like it's way more centralized, like a lot of people are closer to Vancouver, Toronto, or they're willing to drive like an hour or 2 away, versus in the US where it's like super spread out. So it wasn't really possible or feasible for us to like launch a event in the US. So we launched 2 in Vancouver, Toronto last year. It was such an amazing event, and so different, like meeting people in person compared to like just chatting online. It's such really a different experience.
Yeah, like talking with Steve and Evan, right, for example, or like any of those other entrepreneurs there. Yeah, like you get a much better and faster idea of someone's mentality and their persona from a face-to-face meeting. So yeah, it's good. It's highly valuable to. I think it's highly valuable to come out to these kinds of meetups, these events. I'm looking forward next year to also hosting more. Like I hosted a meme coin meetup in Dubai for the crypto guys out there. Like the big crypto conferences, I like to host events. I love going to the side events. I think they're great. And yeah, I encourage everyone to like, get out there and meet people. Even if it's hard for you, if you're like introverted, I think you should come out of your comfort zone and like really give it a shot. Even if you're already successful, there's always people that know things you don't know. And like, as Royston said as well, like networking is a huge part of all of this, face-to-face meetings. So coming into 2026, again, like any other parts of your life that you're like really focused on besides business, maybe you can tell us about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So like the first few years, like when I started business, like my I was pretty healthy in a sense where I didn't fall ill, but I didn't really have a lot of time to like exercise or like especially that sense, my first few years of business, because I was like super stressed all the time. I have like no brain capacity or mental capacity to think of like anything else.
Yeah.
But like this year, last year, and moving forward, now I'm like putting my health in more of a bigger priority, and I feel that it also gives me like more peace and stuff. So like I try to take like morning walks, evening walks. I try to like swim a couple of times a week. So I'm putting more like uh, health aspect, and like just try to enjoy more. Because like the first few years of business when I was in, it was like super hectic, super chaotic, like super stressed out, like 24/7 kind of thing. Super grind mode.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel you. I also I was doing so many hours in grind. Like, I mean, when we're in mid-20s, when you're in your 20s, when we're in our 20s, like, yeah, you obviously have like more kind of energy in your body. It's a lot easier. Your metabolism is faster, like all of us. But yeah, it does catch up. And yeah, putting your health first is like really the most important thing, because yeah, your body's just not gonna be able to operate, even if you think like you can right now. Like, your brain needs rest, it needs sleep, needs all this stuff. So like when we talked about biohacking as well, yeah, that's another like really valuable thing that people can learn. What kind of parts of biohacking have you been like developing? What's working for you right now?
Sure. I'm not like a super biohacker whatsoever, but I try to get the basics down. I'm a morning kind of person, so I always like sleep, before like 10, 11. I make like sleep is the. Most important thing out of all.
Yeah.
Then later comes like your diet. I used to be like a vegetarian. I used to like eat like a lot of vegetables and stuff. So like diet part, at least for me, I try to eat somewhat a bit healthy if I can. Can always be improved. Then exercise part, I already told you, like now I take like 30-hour long walks, try to swim. But I'm not into like the super like biohacking space, and I just try to get the fundamentals right, at least for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fundamentals of it, it's like the 80-20 principle, right? You get the 20% properly locked down, it gets 80% of the result anyway. So like, you don't have to go fully down that rabbit hole, but be aware of your health and yeah, try to maximize all those things. Yeah, no, it's been awesome talking to you, Royston. Thanks so much for the insight and yeah, all those nuggets of wisdom. Will be in touch, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been great to talk to you. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with for the ending here?
Not really. I think it's been great talking to you, Thomas. It was really nice meeting you in person. We had a quick chat, then, we had to leave. Then great meeting you again. And, I'm looking forward to more, of our discussions and meetings in person.
Yeah, that's where the value is. All right. If you didn't already, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.
Likewise.
All right.